Hello, and welcome to Ladder Up Gaming's first YouTube video. In this video, we're going to be talking a little bit about something I like to call sequencing. What is sequencing? Well, it's the order in which abilities are cast. Usually, the sequences matter more when abilities can't be cast again. So quick, bursty type engagements that usually last around 8 to 10 seconds are where sequencing will be the most important. Sequencing is really important because it can change the outcome of a fight without additional abilities or time. Simply changing the order can change the outcome. In today's example, we're going to be looking at the matchup of Darius versus Vayne. There's no specific reason why we're looking at this matchup other than the fact that I played it the other day and noticed that while I just think about sequencing naturally, a lot of people might not be able to notice it as easily, and so I wanted to be able to make a video on it. Now, I'm going to lay out a few rules before we go into the sequences to make sure that it's realistic and not just Vayne suiciding to Darius for no reason. In a quick fight between these two champions, we'll give them each one cast of each ability. We'll also assume that they auto-attack whenever it's best, so using resets and whatnot will be used properly. In the matchup, Vayne will most likely be poking with auto-attacks, while Darius tries to play in the correct range and find Vayne caught out. Vayne won't be using Condemn first, as it's more of a healing tool than damage, and it's unlikely that we'll be opening up into Darius by hitting him into a wall. Because we assume that Vayne is going to be poking with auto attacks, Vayne will be at her auto attack range or just outside of it, away from Darius. With that being said, let's look at a few different variations of sequences that might happen in this matchup. This variance will be neutral with Darius shoving. If Darius uses Q by walking towards Vayne, Vayne would tumble directly away. When Vayne tumbles away, Darius would walk backwards, and therefore Vayne is no longer in range to auto-attack, and Vayne should just hang out, auto-attack some minions, and wait for the cooldown on Q. If she tries to use that Q on Darius, he will be able to E her, and she won't be able to use Tumble to get away from it. This has Darius winning while pushing. If Darius tries to walk forward in Q, and Vayne Qs to the side for an auto-attack, Darius can E. If Vayne E's at the same time, then they'll both get shifted, but Darius will be able to move first, giving him a chance to get in range and use his slow onto Vayne. Now Vayne has to run away, because eventually Darius's Q will come back up. However, Darius has to back off if Vayne is too quick, because then Vayne can turn it around. This is something like overextending in a small trade. This variation has Vayne winning, but she can't really punish if Darius retreats into a big wave. Darius uses Q by walking at Vayne, and Vayne tumbles away, and then auto-attacks. However, Darius still gets the E off, but Vayne uses her Condemn after the total grab from Darius. So she gets hooked, and then she knocks Darius away, and now she walks backwards. This gives her enough space to avoid Darius, and if Darius tries to get in range, Vayne can kite from this position, and Darius would have to disengage. This variation has Vayne winning and able to punish. If Darius uses E and then Vayne uses Q to dodge, but Darius still tries to walk up in Q, then Vayne can just E him away and start auto-attacking him like crazy. Now, Darius should never really open up with E, as we saw in the previous variation, because Vayne always has the Q dodge answer. But if Darius E's and Vayne doesn't dodge with Q, then Darius can W, and then Vayne tries to E, but Vayne has to disengage, and she's going to be chunked out a bit. And the other variation is if Darius uses his E, and then Vayne E's at the same time, then Darius can again W, and then Vayne will try to Q away, and then Darius will land his Q, and Vayne has to run while Darius chases her and then retreats whenever he has a chance. Now, these were really simple examples of sequencing, and in the future I'd like to break down larger scale sequences, such as entire team fights, where a lot more factors come into play. But for now, I hope this gives you a good idea of what sequencing is, and we'll expand and go more in depth on this topic soon. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. Thanks for watching.